Hi there, Ron here of Variable Play, and welcome to Open Game Night. So, mahangin ba sa labas? No, I'm actually inside. I am in the province at the moment, and I think all of us are having our Holy Week. Um, so it's a little bit difficult to coordinate everyone to run an episode. So this is pre-recorded, and um, I will just be sharing with you guys how I prepared for Holy Week, and also just a reminder that Bacon is next weekend, not this weekend. It is next weekend, right? It is just yes, April 23 and 24. So I hope to see you guys there. If you have not yet registered, please do register. It gives us information of how much tables we need to set up, and just the logistics would help us a lot in coordinating. We already sent some of the posters on site. I delivered the venue asked us to. I don't know where they're gonna put it, so it'll be cool. It's first time an 8 foot by 4 foot 4 feet uh, tarp. Just has our bacon event. So hopefully we would be seeing you guys there. So uh, it's been a while since I've done a solo episode, and this is actually how Open Game Night started, and how Open Game Night used to. The format was I would be telling people that I'm going to go to a game night, but before that, I would have gone from a game night. And because of the pandemic, things changed. But I think with this Bacon, we would be able to form new game groups again and get everybody's schedules and figure out what's the best day to to find the commitment to get back into gaming. So I'm really excited about that. So if you do get to go to Bacon, it is the perfect time to find people that number one you got to play with. You already are, acclimated with their preferences, the games that they like to play, and they might also be working near your area or near your place, um, and the convenience of finding the working schedule, the workable schedule for your group to start with. I think that works. And aside from that, what we'll be doing is to collect all of these game groups, their schedules, and we're going to be posting it on the venue. So whenever you have figured out a game group, you tell us if it's an open game group. Open game group means that anybody from anywhere can join. They just show up at the place, and there's a certain level of consistency. So, what we recommend for game groups so that it grows on a natural pace is that number one, find a schedule uh, that works for you. So it may be once a month, twice a month, every week. It really depends on your availability and the group's availability. Why do you want to figure this part out? You can think of it as your initial group or your initial members are your starting volunteers. Our hobby requires, or it really benefits when people uh, help out the community. So for your starting volunteers, uh, you want to figure out what is something that's workable with your schedule. Don't push yourself too hard that where, oh, we're going to do this every day or we're going to do this every week. It might not be a good strategy to begin with, because if you're not able to consistently do it, people might go and then there's no game for that day, and then they might not come back. So what worked with us is that if we say, oh, it's twice a month, or if it's once a month, first Friday, first Monday, whatever the case may be, go ahead and do that. Number two is talk to the venue ahead of time. Ask around, um, the way, if it's going to be a public space, a restaurant, a coffee shop, you it would always be best to ask them first. Ask them if it's all right. Ask them which days also is something workable with them. Workable in the sense that it is maybe a slow day, maybe that there's not much customers. So having it becomes a win-win situation with you and the establishment, because they would now have people that are going on the days that they may not necessarily have as much people. So that's a key thing. Figure out, of course, the costs and the logistics. So number three is, how do you get there? Do you get there by commute? Do you get there? Is there parking, or are you expecting people to drive there? If it's a house, share it with people that normally, if it's houses, it's not going to be an open game group per se, because you don't want just random strangers to pop up at your house. So, which is also why we promoted the idea of open game groups in open spaces, primarily because it's fairly safer. They're going to you're sharing a coffee shop location or a restaurant location, so a little bit safer that way. So if it's a game group for your friends, which again we also recommend to do that, have a regular game group with friends. That's fine. That is a good thing. You get to play the games that you love to play. But if you are also interested in helping to promote the community and promote the growth in the community, accepting more people into gaming, if you have the chance and the time to help out and create open game groups, this is something that we would recommend. As you can see, I don't know if you hear it, I'm in the province, dogs and roosters all around. All right. So, done with the tips. Let's talk about it's Holy Week in the Philippines. And how do I prepare for the games that I might play? And especially if you're going to a relative or you're going to a new place, uh, they might not necessarily be gamers, and they might not be as interested in gaming. But you wanna keep your options open, right? So that just in case they might be interested, you can bring them in. But I also, because gaming, there's a personal connection to gaming as well as a communal connection to gaming. So I'm gonna check my bag. I don't remember what I've placed here entirely, but it would be stuff that I prep just in case I get the chance to play games with relatives, or I make some time for gaming for myself. So let's see what I have in my bag. All right. So we have the Lost Expedition. So the Expedition is a co-op, solo to co-op, uh, 1 to 5 players, and I've already stuck the expansion in this just to make it a little bit harder. So I haven't tried it with the expansion actually. The way the game works is it is card driven. You would be playing cards that would have different challenges on them. Uh, some would be required, some would be optional, but at least one of them you need to fulfill. Some are really optional. And the objective is to get to the the lost ruins of Arnak because the cover looks the same. You're trying to get to the usual Wakanda, El Dorado, So uh, along the way, you need to overcome these challenges, and you want this icon that looks like a person trekking, and you want that icon to move to the next destination. But you would be paying food, you would be uh, spending life to perform tasks and so forth, or might even get hit by um, animals or cannibal tribes and whatnot. So it's a very, very um, interesting experience in the sense that if you play it as a group, um, there's no text, but somehow you develop a story simply because of the situations that your group has encountered. So it plays well with one to five players. I have not played it at the five player count. I have played it at one, really nice. Played it at two and three, also nice. I actually like the two player version because you have a set. I think I played it at four. So I have the only one I haven't played yet is at five players. So this one co-op. Um, I like bringing co-op games to people that I might not know yet if they would be interested in gaming. Primarily because you don't have to be super involved. You can help them along the way. You can give them instructions, and it's quicker to the table. So this is why probably I brought the Lost Expedition. Right. What else do I have here? Uh, I have, so just in case my son would be interested, I have my commander decks, my commander precon decks. I have the first one is the uh, Dungeons and Dragons Dragon deck. And I have the two Kamigawa vehicles and upgrades. So just in case my son would be interested to learn uh, these commander decks, I brought them also. And if you're passing time, it's also nice to just look at art and pictures. Right. I have something that I'm not sure if I can pull off, but Alice is missing. It is a co-op RPG, but it's you don't talk. You have to use your text. We've played this in the stream, but for the ones who don't know, you would be um, joining up in a virtual chat. So think Messenger or Viber and whatnot. And there will be prompts in the game. There are cards that you would be giving to players, and at a certain time, you will open up the prompt, and it will tell you, so to draw a character or draw a location, and based on that, it will tell you what might have happened, and then you now have to put that into the story. So it's a combination of improv and sort of social role playing game. Very, very interesting, and the soundtrack of this is pretty fantastic. So uh, I have it because people might be interested in trying it out. It's an experience I really recommend for people to at least try once. So that is Alice is Missing. I have some more games. Okay. So I have here Harbor. So worker placement. This is a little bit thinky, um, but the reason why I have it is because this has a solo variant. So it has some solo rules in there that I have not yet tried and played. So I think I if I have the chance, let me see if I can see the player count. It does not have the player count. Um, do you have the player count at the back? I know I've seen some sort of AI for it. So this one, primarily I want to try the solo if it is available in there. I also have here Volfirion. So Volfirion deck building, two player. If it's fairly quick, again very icon driven. So which is good because just like the Lost Expedition, the advantage of having less text is that players can sort of have a more approachable feel to it because it's not a lot of reading. Generally, for core gamers, we're very used to working with text, working with cards and a card mechanic where I play and read the card. For non gamers, it's not something that they're used to. So icons are a big help. Even though the Lost Expedition, there's a lot more icons that are there. In my bag, I would always have it. Let me just double check if it is with me. Is so I have Mintworks, again another worker placement game. Um, can't go wrong. uh, and this also has a solo variant inside, so something that at least I could play. And now that I've published it, of course, I have my very own plataforma. This one, I know it's gonna be easy to play and ask people to chime in, primarily because um, it's a social sort of party game to a certain extent where you're simply talking about the current issues. We have been posting. Thank you to the G3 podcast. It was a fantastic time that I had with my interview with them, and they are their edits for our playthrough is fantastic. So yes, super fun there. Uh, so if you haven't watched those, please do. They're pretty fun. Okay, last two. So I have here a solo game. So something that you also want to think about is that you might want to just have your own game time, especially in this Holy Week. A bit of thinking and meditation. I think it's a good some quiet time, and why not partner that also with a bit of puzzles and Mazecape is something that I have shared in our stream before. But basically, there is a sheet, and you would be opening up the sheet in different ways, and you're following this maze just like a traditional maze, except the maze to a certain extent is in 3D form because it's on different planes of the fold, and because of that combination of folds, then you have sort of this not so infinite, but there's so many ways for you to arrive to a destination. Right. And last one is the detective Bloody Red Roses. So this is sort of a one shot. I really liked Detective, and it has this 3D component. So you will be taking cards and putting them up, uh, and not to reveal anything, uh, but though that is an integral part of how you will solve the puzzle, more story driven puzzle, which I like instead of just trying to figure out small pieces of the puzzle. So it's a little bit more about observation and things like that. Right. So something that I would also recommend this Holy Week, if you haven't gotten it, the first game I ever published is called Codes and Verses, and uh, it is something that we actually really play, especially me and my family during Holy Week. I think it's a good time to play that. And in case you haven't gotten the game Codes and Verses, I do have sort of like a sampler of it on my site. So let me just share it with you. All right. So the Android one ever was published. The iOS one, it's longer to get published, so that's not yet still there. Um, So the Android one I did get to publish, and that's a sort of companion app. It was a way for me to let players play QNV, sort of with their own personal copy, and something that they can play digitally. So the way QNV works is simply, uh, you would be drawing 7 cards. You will draw four, three, four, four verses and 3 codes. One, two, three. All right. So you'll draw a random set of verses and codes, and whoever's the leader for the round will start by drawing a an idea. So an idea card. So it's usually a prompt. It will say, "How are you feeling right now?" Or recall a happy moment you received at work. Right. So let's say you got promoted, or just so the idea here is that as a leader for the round, you will share a story with the prompt. So this is best played with friends and family that are close to you, or connect group, light group if you're in a religious community. This is also the best time uh, to play it. So you have here a prompt. So let's say I'll go with how are you feeling right now? I'm feeling quite happy and excited. I'm excited about Bacon. I'm excited about meeting people again. Of course, I'm a bit cautious or a bit anxious in the sense of, how do we pull off all the logistics? How do we pull off all the things that we need in time for the event? It is a coordination of a lot of volunteers and donations from volunteers. Again, we're doing this primarily for the growth of the community. We believe that the strength of the industry for tabletop would a big driver of that is how the community feels and reacts and behaves, and the culture around it is driven by the community. So once the leader has shared their story with the prompt, the rest of the players would now use the quotes and verses in their hand to create a response, sort of like affirm or contribute some reaction to the story that was shared by the leader. So just remember that when you're sharing the the chosen verse or quote, that you are sharing it for that story that the leader has shared. So let's see if I have some stuff here. Huh. Well, this is pretty very apt. So I think I think I like this one, and let's see if there are some verses that's also appropriate. Okay, yeah. Okay. So, I, yeah. So I could say, for example, another person may have chosen, oh, um, it said in Proverbs 29:17, discipline your children and they will give you peace. They will bring you the delights you desire. So I think tabletop gaming really promotes a very good culture, and it promotes very good character for kids, primarily because you have to do very, very basic things, but at the same time, you'd be surprised that it somehow lacks in our society. So, for example, taking turns, so patiently waiting for your turn, listening to other players, just like how you guys are listening to me rambling at the moment. Those are things that are intrinsic into playing tabletop gaming and may not necessarily be something that we practice in normal life. And so I think having Bacon and we for Bacon, we've always loved it when families go there and they would bring their kids and they would introduce and get into the hobby of tabletop gaming, uh, and see everyone, having such a welcoming nature, welcoming atmosphere. So there, I think if you start them early with tabletop gaming, just like what you're doing with Bacon, I think it's gonna really bring new generations of gamers that have the right attitude into gaming. And just to add, so another player may have say, "Oh, yeah, you just no try not do or do not. There is no try. So just go at it. It's gonna pan out. End of the day, the real stars of Bacon are these are are the games. Are the games. They would do their thing on their own. They just need players. Um, and I think the one that I said it appealed the most to me was knowing what's right doesn't mean much, not unless you do what's right. And I think we we feel that, as volunteers for this initiative, we know that it helps the community, and if we just decided not to do it, the community will still be there. It will still grow in its own pace. But I think it is something that we could help further grow if we keep working towards the goal of eventually we'll have Gen Con in the Philippines. Or maybe Bacon grows to as big as Gen Con. But anyway, so there you have it. That is how you would play Codes and Verses. And hopefully you guys can try that out. If you want to look up the site, it's called scripturedu.com. Scriptured, so the scripture with a D, and then you.com. And you can try out the game there. Of course, you have to have other players that will also either be looking at their same copy of this, or, of course, please do support if you would also try the physical copy of the game. All right. So, thank you everyone for joining me today. Sorry, mahangin talaga sa labas. Kailangan mag-electric fan. No, I'm in Pangasinan right now, and the temperature here is very summer. so, it is just how they do things, but it's all right. So, thank you everyone for joining me today, tonight, and I hope to see you guys this Bacon 2022. Keep safe, have a good Holy Week, and have a blessed Holy Week. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.